Hello, hello. Welcome back to Slay the Gray Hobby Hangout. Today I am painting some Tyranids, Von Ryan's Leapers to be exact. Let's adjust this camera. So I am currently in a escalation league at my local game store. And I'm running Tyranids. So I had the original 3 that I got in the Leviathan starter set, and I have another Tyranids half I bought off of a friend of mine who wasn't interested in that, so I have a whole nother half of Tyranids. So I thought I'd get these other 3 Leapers painted up tonight so I can use them in my game tomorrow. So that's the background story of why I'm painting Von Ryan's Leapers. And if you're joining me after the fact, welcome to Beginner's Wargaming. My name is Sam. I paint miniatures every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. We post a new video to the channel every other week. That's usually at the end of the week, usually a Thursday or Friday. Sometimes over the weekend if I'm falling a little behind. So stay tuned for that. Alright, let's get into this. So, my Tyranid paint scheme is not a official lore paint scheme, as you can see from my example Leaper here. But it's a really dark, so we have like a buildup of green on the skin, and then there's kind of like a teal blue color to the carapace with some gray. This scheme right here is actually my old version of the paint scheme. About halfway through painting the Leviathan, I kind of revised my approach. So we're going to be painting the new Leapers, these other 3, in my revised, updated scheme. And the revised one goes well enough with the old one, so I don't necessarily have to repaint the old ones, but I might go around and I may paint the carapace on my existing 3 Leapers to match at some point, but I'm not really too worried about that right now. Okay, so for the skin, I am going to just do a simple dry brush of Elysian green. There we go. So these should paint up pretty quickly too. My Tyranid scheme is, it goes much quicker than some of my other paint schemes, like for my Space Marines, for example. So they are a Horde army, and, well, if you want to play with a painted army, you're going to have to come up with a scheme that paints quicker than, you know, power armor. Like... So I'm just gonna work the paint off on a paper towel, and yeah, that seems about right. I'm just gonna dry brush over the skin. And get that green coloring in there. Excuse me. It's actually kind of hard to get in all the skin areas with the way that this guy's posed. His arms are kind of getting in the way. That's okay. We'll just have some natural shading in there. So it did come out pretty green, but that's okay. If it's too much, I'll just go over it with Nuln Oil, but I think once I get everything else painted up, it'll look a bit dialed back. Not too concerned about it. After you painted over 100 Tyranids, you kind of know what to expect. So just kind of going around little circles. All over the skin. Just gonna get some more paint on my brush and repeat the process for number 3 here. Just trying to get all up in the skin here, the rib cage. Going around little circles up the arm. Trying to get both sides of the arm. Just a little bit more paint. Almost all done with this color. I'd hate to have to pop the pot open and get some more just to finish off that last little bit, but we'll see if I can make it stretch. Okay, so I'm gonna clean my brush off. This Elysian green, it really stains. Kind of like some of those greens, the pigment's really strong. Hello, David. Welcome. Tyranids. What in the Emperor's name? Yes, this is actually my main jam. Tyranids. Surprise, surprise. My first love. As far as Warhammer is concerned. My first 40k army. Alright. So next, I'm just going to jump right into... I think we're going to do the carapace next. Just get that color blocked in. So, my new scheme, my new variant on this paint scheme is the Thunderhawk Blue. So it's going to come out a bit darker. Swarm Daddy, I'm also part of the Hive Mind. It's contagious. It sure is. Welcome, Swarm Daddy. Pardon me for a sec. I reposition some windows here on my computer. There we go. So I can read the chat a little bit easier. So my carapace, I do Thunderhawk Blue. So if any of you saw me paint the Norn Emissary, the Norn Assimilator, then you've seen me paint this paint scheme before. That was the monster version, so now I'm doing the smaller version. Alright, I'm just zooming the camera just a hair here. Turn out my paint a little bit. We're just going to start painting everywhere on the carapace. Thunderhawk blue. This will probably take 2 coats. It's kind of hard to get in there with these dynamic poses they have. This model, by the way, I am a huge fan. It is an awesome model. Very menacing. Very acrobatic. Yes, 2 thin coats is the industry standard. Sometimes if it goes on in 1 coat, I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong. So I'm hoping to finish these 3 up tonight because I have a game tomorrow and they're in my list. So I try not to play with unpainted models. I have a pretty good track record on it so far, so... As much as I like painting Space Marines and all that stuff, it is fun to mix it up. I can only paint so much power armor before I kind of lose my mind. Von Lion's Reaper is right. I've been struggling with getting some value out of the Infiltrators this edition. Yeah. I, too, have had some struggle with these guys. I'm thinking, though, that if you run them in a unit of 6, it might be more advantageous. So, the league I'm in has some weird, I should say, abnormal list restrictions as we add up the points over week. So it's Escalation League. So we're at 600 points. I can't have any monsters. I can't have any beasts or mounted, but I can have infantry and characters, generic characters. So I'm running the Vanguard detachment with a Broodlord, 10 Gene Stealers, 2 units of 5 Gene Stealers, a unit of 6 Von Ryan's Leapers, and a Lictor. So we'll see how that does. But it's pretty fun. Every week we just kind of get together and play, and our lists get bigger and bigger week over week. I just got moved sometimes. It really all just depends on the table and the terrain and who I'm going up against. I have had some good luck with Leapers, though. I pretty much put them on an objective this one game, and they stayed there for most of the game and ended up scoring me quite a bit of points. It's actually a game that's on the channel. It is, I think, the 3rd mission in my Crusade series, Corrupted Harvest. I think it's the 3rd mission. Maybe it's the 2nd mission. No, it's the 3rd one. Yeah, the Leapers, they kind of hang out and score quite a few points with them. So it all depends on how you use them. Very nice. I like the smaller battles. Lictor, I hardly knew her. That joke never gets old. Yeah, small battles are pretty fun. Like everything you do carries so much more weight. And like a little combat, you know, with a couple models, you get really invested in like, oh, I have to win this fight, or you know, the whole game can be at stake on like every little thing. So they're very exciting, and often I find that they tend to be pretty close too. Like the last week, I played against another guy playing Tyranids, and we were both doing unending swarm detachment. So we had a bunch of Termagants and Hormagaunts, and they were, you know, respawning and coming back with that stratagem that brings them back. And it was neck and neck. We were tied up for points like the whole game, and then it's kind of like a war of attrition, and he pulled ahead in the last turn with the end game bonus scoring. So it was a very good game. A lot of fun. Yeah, small battles are great. That's Thunderhawk Blue. It's not covering as much as I remember it covering. Maybe I'm using too small of a brush. I play Unending Swarm if you couldn't guess by the name. Well, I knew it was at least Tyranids. You must love painting Termagants and Hormagaunts and all the Gaunts. It's a labor of love. Painting that many models. Something we share with Imperial Guard players. My local meta wouldn't work well with smaller battles either. Way too many heavy hitters flying around. Yeah. I guess, what do you mean by that? People don't want to play small games? They're always wanting to play 2,000 points? I still like combat patrol size games, even without playing the combat patrol rules. Because you can still get that list customization. Those can still be a lot of fun. They mainly do 2K battles. Ah. Yeah, 2K battles are fun. They're fine and all, but they do take a lot of time. And, yeah, small games can be really interesting. I think that, like 1,500 points is a sweet spot. Because 1,500 points, you got, like, you know, it's enough to bring out some toys, but not the full 2,000, so it's, you know, not too crazy. The game doesn't last terribly long with 1,500. I don't know, it just seems to be the sweet spot. Or even 1,200, if you want to go a little bit smaller. Getting that second coat on this carapace. Get some decent coverage here. Don't have to cover it perfectly because I will be going over this with a null oil wash, which is going to darken it up even more. So I do just want to make sure I get a decent coverage though on the carapace. There you go. 1 down, 3 to go. 2 to go. Counting is hard. 1500, about as low as I'll go with my sisters. Let's run an infantry heavy list with some firepower to back it up. I go against infantry sisters army. That'd be fun to see one on the board. Yeah. Infantry heavy armies against infantry heavy armies are always fun. I'm gonna go up in brush size, and I'm hoping that'll save me some time. Get some more of that Thunderhawk blue on my palette. I did miss a spot on the chest. There we go. Wasn't there some new Dark Angel stuff that came out recently? Like was it a box of Terminators? Focus. There we go. Let's focus, bring it back. The Deathwing Assault Box. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, they got a new Grey Knight set. Oh. Like new models? I'm a little out of the loop. I've been doing a lot of window shopping, looking at bolt action stuff. I don't know why, I'm just kind of getting back into World War II history. Such a fascinating topic. And bolt action always looked like a lot of fun. So I might start that at some point. Still debating what army I'd want to play. They're getting knights set. Oh, I think I read that wrong. They got a new Getting Knight set. Oh, I read that as Grey Knight set. Oh, you know what? I just realized I missed a spot on this guy, on the tail. As I'm painting. My keyboard messed up as well. It was Deathwing Knights. Yes, Deathwing Knights. Gotcha. Oh yeah, that's right. They had like the sword and shield. Is that a new data sheet, or were people just using like Blade Guard veterans for them? I'm not really up on my Space Marines outside of the bog standard Ultramarines. And Codex compliant chapters. Yeah, I think moving to the bigger brush was a good choice. I'm able to paint a lot better here. You know what? I missed another spot. Existing data sheet. They got new rule in the Codex. Cool. The hands. We got some carapace on these scything talons. Batch painting. You always like realize there's things you missed in the first model in the batch. You have to keep going back. Okay. Ay ay ay. That's cool. I think Dark Angels are neat. I think if I was going to do another chapter, I'd do Dark Angels or Blood Angels. But if I did Blood Angels, I wouldn't do Blood Angels. I would do Blood Ravens. Because I am a Dawn of War fan. That was my jam back in the day. Such a good game. And I think the Blood Ravens are just a successor chapter. Just gonna get all that. You know what? I realized I missed another spot on that first model. I called him done way too soon. He's got some carapace on the top of his head. Let's go back and touch that up too. I think if I went Marines, it'd be white scars. Rattle can the army and you're done. Huh. Yeah. White scars are pretty cool. I actually finished the Horus Heresy book, Scars, recently. And that was pretty good. Didn't really know what to expect from it. They are an interesting chapter. Just gonna get this face carapace. On the head here. Yeah, even though the bigger brush, it's kind of harder to control. It does coat the paint much nicer. And I can paint much quicker. Doing the same deal on the head here. Excellent. We got these praying mantis arms like a lictor. Ew, on so many levels. Are you talking about the grossness of the tentacle face? Do Tyranids gross you out? Because they should. The benefit too of painting a dark scheme is, you know, you prime it black. Some little details that you might miss in some of the recesses, you just keep them black, and it all still kind of blends together and looks good. So it can be a little forgiving in that sense. A little more on the gritty side. Oh, white scars gross me out. Just rattle cannon and army also grosses me out. I mean, I think you do a little bit more than just rattle can, right? When I first got into 40k, the editor of White Dwarf was a White Scars player. That leave a bad taste in your mouth? Were you not a fan? Yeah, I guess I don't get the full context there. Other than it scarred you. No pun intended. A little bit for a while. Felt like we were getting White Scars, Orcs, and Space Wolves shoved down our throats. Ah, yes. I mean, Orcs are okay. I don't have a problem with Orcs. But Space Wolves? Mm-mm. So what you're saying is there's a bit of favoritism in the White Dwarf content. A little underrepresentation of the other cool factions. There was back in the day. Yep. Well, I guess how far back is back in the day? Are we talking early 2000s? 90s? So I saw that they re-released Battle for McCraig around Christmas time for a special order. That starter set, and that was one of the starter sets that I got. Back when it came out with my brother, we split. And now I'm thinking, yeah, that was kind of a while ago, wasn't it? Mid-90s. Ah, nice. Back in my day, it was called Rogue Trader. Yes, time flies. Yeah, I started, I think I've shared this before, but, I started with Warhammer Fantasy in the early-ish 2000s. And then branched into 40K. And then kind of had it all stop around 2012, 2011, and then picked it back up again in 2021, and picked it up again hard. And I started making videos online, and here I am. I didn't get started in the second edition or the first edition of 40K. Yeah. Was that the one that was Space Marines versus Orcs, right? For the starter set. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's the the classic one I'm thinking. The stiff mono poses. Back when everything was on itty bitty bases. With pegged bolters. Remember to paint the chest this time. Did I get the tail? Yeah, I did get the tail. Okay. Working my way from the bottom up. I think the Von Ryan's Leapers are some of my favorite new Tyranid models. They're up there with the Norn Emissary and Norn Assimilator. The new Lictors are also very cool. I don't have any of those yet. But the Leapers and the Lictors are definitely in the same, you know, vein as far as design goes. Huge fan. good time to be into Warhammer. Good time because the models are awesome. But also, I suppose it's a bad time because they're so darn expensive. Yeah, I really like a lot of the new sculpts for the Nids. Yeah. Even the Termagants look cool. Like, they were fine. They didn't need to be redone, in my opinion. Or like the Hormagaunts, but I mean, the new ones definitely look really cool, so I'm not gonna complain. Except for them changing the base size, I will complain about that. Not enough to start an army, but still. Are they growing on you? I mean, of the Xenos, they are one of the cooler Xenos, I think. I mean, the Eldar are classic, right? Um, Elves in space. But, like, the Tyranids are the most alien. They're the most, like... I don't know. They're kind of mysterious. They're kind of terrifying. The way they just devour worlds and kill everything. I think they make a good common enemy that's not chaos. I'm a faithful citizen of the Empire, man. I mean, why not both? I really like Imperium stuff, but I think I realize I have a lot of Xenos. Sculpts are easily the most frightening. Yeah, that's for sure. The chaos stuff is pretty frightening too. Although it's like frightening in a different way. Let's get my current armies finished. I may look into branching out. Haha, one does not simply finish a current army. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff in the old pile of shame. I want to get at least like one faction's worth of stuff done. Like I got some Eldar stuff, not a whole lot, but some Eldar stuff, and then Necron, Space Marines, Tyranids. I'm always jumping around too, so sometimes it feels like I don't make any progress on finishing like a whole category. I know that was my safety net for not having to buy Tyranids. It never ends. I think we all may have a problem. A plastic addiction. I do not have a plastic addiction. Just keep telling yourself that. I think I do. Or I have a miniature addiction. It's not very big. I just like to rescue unwanted things. Yeah. Especially when you find like a lot for sale and it's maybe a little beat up or poorly painted, but it's such a good deal. Actually, I got a bunch of Tyranids a while back. That way. That's how I got a lot of my Zoanthropes. They were fine cast ones. I mean, fine cast models are gross, but Zoanthropes are expensive. They're like $75 for 3 of them. It's insane. So to find them secondhand like that, that was a steal. And clearly, if they're left abandoned on a shelf wrapped in plastic, suffocating, they need to be rescued. Ah, yes. You like to rescue new in box. I do too. I also like to rescue miniatures that are trapped in liquid resin. 3D printing definitely hasn't helped my addiction. 'Cause now you can just print all sorts of cool miniatures from all these great designers. What a time. What a time to be in the hobby. 3D printing is great. Really opens up the realm of possibilities, especially for terrain. Let's get that second coat on the carapace. And I can move on to the next step. Trapped in liquid resin, yes. They need to be manifested. Alright, I got the carapace base coat down. Next up, I should do, I have a couple options. I could do some purple, I could do some gray. I think I'll go and do, we'll do purple next, I think. This one I will use a slightly smaller brush. Because I got a lot of fine areas to get into. Focus, focus, there we go. The resin must be allowed to realize its true potential. That's right, that's what I'm saying. No sense just letting it sit inside of a bottle, unused. So the purple I'm using is Xerxes purple. It's a nice, rich purple. Dark, but not too dark. It's a very alien color. It goes along with that Thunderhawk blue very nicely. Just gonna get that thinned out on my palette here. And so they got these like little heat vents on the side of their arms and legs. So I color that in with purple. Also anywhere where there's like some connective tissue in between their body or their joints. Ugh, I don't know why I was blanking on that word. Joints. In their joints. This just adds a really nice pop of complementary color on the Tyranids. I'm not a fan of the lore represented Leviathan scheme. Like, it's fine, but I really liked it back when they had High Fleet Kraken. The tan and red. That's kind of what I picture Tyranids. Or Behemoth is pretty cool too. The red and blue. But I think Kraken was a really cool High Fleet. I'm sad that they don't really have them representative of their models anymore. I get it, because like the lore is different now. It's like a new High Fleet. But Kraken was just so cool looking. The third edition Tyranids is what I think they were. This Xerxes purple covers very nicely too, so even when it's thinned down. So it just kind of works its way into these lower areas really nicely. So gotta get these inner army chompy bits with purple. Oop, dropped my brush. Butterfingers. These arm teeth, mantis teeth. Did I paint the insides of these? I did not. Should I? I should. Oh yeah, that's much better. Making improvements, even though I just painted the original 3 of these leapers just a few months ago. Actually, it's probably 6 months ago now, I think about it. Wow, 10th edition's been out for a while. Time goes by fast. Yes, for my Tyranids, I don't really do anything super crazy with them. Just put Probably the most detail I'll spend on them is just some highlights on the carapace. Other than that, it's pretty much just, you know, base coats and a wash maybe. No 3-stage highlights like a power armor or anything like that. In my brush. This joint tissue. The purple knees. All these new models have these cool little bits on the bases. Extra detail. It's as cool as it is annoying. There's just more stuff I have to paint. Kind of being a little sloppy on the inner arms here because it's kind of hard to see the detail. It's just so dark. That's okay though. I was gonna see the little mistake there. Oops, there's a little mistake. I will leave it. It's fine. Not worth it. Having a public freak out over. When batch painting models, how many makes a good batch? 3, 5, 10, 20, 36? They look like they would lend themselves well to slap chop. Yes. I think you are right. I think 5 is a good number for batch painting. Yeah, 5 is good. It's kind of like where it starts to feel like a little bit of a grind. You're wrapping up a color. Most I've ever done is 32 Termagants. Or was it 36? It was a very big batch. While it felt great to do that many models at once and finish them at once, it was not the most enjoyable of processes. But it was definitely the most efficient to get that many models done. Either number is insane. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. I was trying to batch paint 20 Deathcore of Krieg models I was working on. I eventually had to cut it down to 10. I was painting 10 living guys next to 10 dead guys. And then I decided I should just focus on the living for now, and I'll paint the dead guys later. So my plan for that is to have a bunch of dead Deathcore guys, so as they die in the game, I can just kind of sprinkle them across the battlefield. I think that'd be really funny. And I apologize if I've already shared that thought. Can't remember who I've told that to and who I haven't. Yeah, these are all sculpted that way. So I just printed them off. But yeah, they're really gruesome looking. Especially if I do it like in the my opponent doesn't know I have a bunch of like pockets full of dead guys. So like, oh, you killed a few. I think that'd be so funny. Oh. I thought I was done with purple. But I only did 2 of 3. He got half his face blown off. Yeah. There's a couple other good ones. Yeah, this guy. I feel bad for this guy. He's like severed. Jeez. Yeah, they're pretty gruesome. I've always wanted models of all my guys dead so that I could do that. Just, you know, go all out. And now I can. Through the magic of 3D printing. Can you imagine if someone did that with Games Workshop models? That'd be insane. I'm gonna paint 2x the army just so I can have my army in a dead pose. Although that'd be really cool for like big creatures and tanks and stuff. You model them all dead. A dead hive tyrant. That'd be really neat. Fully immersive. I'm saying I don't think anyone actually did that, but that would be funny if someone did. Yeah, if someone actually did that, they'd be I don't know, it'd be concerning. But cool nonetheless. I do like to see dead Xenos on the battlefield. You know, I wonder if there's some good, like, Tyranid proxies that are, like, in a dead pose that, you know, look close enough to Gaunt's. I might actually paint up a few of those. Because gaunts are pretty easy to paint. Especially if they're dead, you could like really be sloppy with them. Coat them in dirt and stuff. I bet you there's some good ones out there I could find. I'll add that to the backlog of all the stupid hobby projects I have started or not started already. I swear, sometimes I have like ADD when it comes to this stuff. I start a project and I work on it, and then I don't finish it, and I start something else. I do eventually come around and finish stuff, but it's just... I find myself hopping around a lot. Whatever is kind of tickling my fancy at the moment. I'm sure that's pretty common with a lot of people, though. Imagine some Tyranids would lose some color after they die. Yeah, I would say so. Especially if they're already very dark, too, to begin with. Look like faded, like, husks. Okay, now I think the purple's done. Just double checking, yeah. Alright, alright. Now I'm gonna do the mouth tentacles. Those I'm just gonna do in Screamer Pink. Be careful not to get it on the... It's got like little arms coming out of its mouth that are not tentacles, so I want to keep those the skin color. Kind of got some Cthulhu action going on here. I'm gonna meet this guy face to face. For many reasons. Oh, I got some tentacle on his chest carapace there. Let's touch that up real quick. Like it never happened. I'm trying to remember if I did a purple wash over this or if I did red. Looks like I did... I think I did Caribou or Crimson. Otherwise, purple would be a good color as well. Purple is a good one to wash over red. All the mouth bits. Disgusting. Tentacles all painted up. And I'm gonna move on to... I should probably get that texture paint on the base so that can start drying while I continue painting the rest of this guy. That would be wise. Gotta try to do this stuff in the right order. Got a little bit of overspill there, trying to clean that up. It's not too bad. Hardly noticeable. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get the texture paint down so I can start drying. I work on the rest. So I'm gonna pop them off the base. Make my job a heck of a lot easier. The deburring tool. It's one good purpose. This. That's about all I use it for. Popping minis off the base. Alright. What do I do for this? I think I just did Astro Granite. Huh. Those look suitably disgusting. That's the idea. So if they look disgusting, then I'm doing something right. Alright, so we got the texture paint. These little trowel tools are actually quite nice for this. I don't know if I'd actually go out and buy one myself. This came with one of my Imperium magazine issues. But I mean it does what it's designed for. Able to kind of coat those bases efficiently. I bought one. I like it. Yeah. I mean, knowing how good it works, I'd probably buy one, but I saw that it's kind of like, do I really need one of those? Also, the Citadel paint water pot is also a good purchase, I think. It's got the ridges in there and everything, and it really does work well for cleaning out your brush. Even though, you know, anything will do, like a mug or whatever, but it's not a bad product. Yeah, I had it with, I used to do this with a paintbrush too, and I'd have to make sure I'm using an old crappy brush, but then the bristles would be going everywhere, so you get like the texture paint on parts of the model that you don't want painted up with it, and yeah, it became a bit of a hassle. Definitely have way more control with the little scraper tool here. I am a fan. This texture paint, I think it's one of their better ideas. I have a plastic tub with a screw on top that I use for my water mug. With a screw on top. Oh, with a screw on top. I was thinking like a screw on top. I was confused there for a second. I also use like the threads of the screw on top. Yeah, I mean, I used to just use like a little Tupperware container for many years. I felt like treating myself one day, and I bought the Citadel paint cup. It was like $12 or something for a plastic cup, but I don't know, it's sturdy, it's built well. It makes me feel elite. No, screw on top, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna let those dry, and I will continue on the leapers. So I think the next color to do is going to be let's do the talons and the claws. We'll do that with Mechanicus Standard Gray. I'm gonna use this kind of larger medium-sized brush that I did the carapace with. It's got a decent point to it. Get some water mixed in there. Alright, so we got some claws on the end of its mouth bits. These mouth hands, whatever you want to call them. Got some on the elbows. These arms. And then these talons, I just want to get up to where the carapace was and kind of maybe blend it in a little bit. The transition between those areas is kind of subtle. Yeah, getting that carapace coat down, that's what I think takes the longest on the Tyranids. It's getting a nice, even base coat of that. Everything else starts to go pretty quickly once you start getting to the other colors with this paint scheme. Get these hooved feet. I always like the hooved foot design that they give the Tyranids. Gives them kind of like a beast-like quality. Now they're often called bugs. They're not quite bugs though, you know? They're very otherworldly. Like they're fleshy, but they have like the bug kind of carapace. They have 6 limbs, kind of like a bug, but they also have like a tail, and they look like something that absorbs many species and evolves over time to become better killers. I just think they're neat. Let's get this guy in focus. There we go. The camera does what it wants. We also got some debris by their feet. Not sure what color to paint that. Maybe I'll just do that. Oh, I think I remember what I did. I think I did kind of a wreck earth flesh, or wreck. What's it called? Yeah, wreck earth flesh. I think I did that color for some of these accent bits that they have kind of by the feet that blend into the base. The sculpted basing, which is ever so common on newer models. Just more stuff to paint. All right, what's everybody's least favorite Xenos faction? I think mine is the Leagues of Votann. I think they're alright. But probably my least favorite. They just seem a little, I don't know. They kind of remind me of Legos. They don't seem very grim dark to me. And maybe that's the point. I don't know. Like, kind of like Tau. Tau aren't supposed to kind of... They are grimdark, but also not at the same time. Alright, last guy. Let's get those scything talons. The elbow talons and the mouth talons. Talons everywhere. And after the gray, I think I'm going to go back to the carapace and give it that Nuln Oil wash. Start working on that. And then we'll be wrapping up. Just a couple highlights here and there and finishing details. And these critters will be table ready in no time. And I can lose another game in my escalation league. Which I am 0-2 so far, by the way. It's all good though, it's all just casual. I am a casual gamer at heart. Alright, now I'm gonna bust out the Nuln Oil. Shade that carapace. Then I'm gonna do some edge highlights on there. And then we'll be on the home stretch. Focus. There we go. Nope. Maybe if I hold it like this, it'll focus. There we go. The camera seems to know what hands are, and it'll focus on those pretty well. Warhammer Models, it's kind of a hit or miss. So the goal of the Nuln Oil wash is to kind of do what panel lining does on Space Marines. Just getting all those nice kind of cracks and recesses on the carapace armor. Give it some depth. Set us up for a nice edge highlight coming up. I do also like to go over the scything talons and the hooves with non-oil too. Just kind of adds some more depth and makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. We'll get these mantis arms. Come on, focus. Focus. There you go. Yeah, the camera focus is all over the place. I apologize for that. I guess these leapers are just too spindly. Gotta be a little quick here. So you can let this dry. And hopefully the bases will be dry enough soon that I can give them their brown wash. Agrax Earthshade. If you can time everything right when you're batch painting, then you don't have to wait too long for things to dry as you're jumping around from piece to piece, kind of working really efficiently. The right sequence of colors. Those mantis arms. Yeah, it keeps wanting to focus on the one down here. If I zoom up the camera a little bit, maybe that'll help. Right. One more to shade here. Carapace fully covered. Get these mantis arms shaded up. I'll work our way down. The thighs, the arms, the feet, the shins. Excellent band, by the way, the shins. One of them indie rack banes. Get the feet all shaded up nice. Trying not to touch where I've shaded. Smudging that up, that'd be bad. Alright, set that guy down and let him dry. The first one is actually almost dry, which is good, which means I can start highlighting him. And the bases are not quite dry yet, but they're getting there. I may need to bust out the old hair dryer. Speed this along. Yeah, so after this shade dries, I just got to do some edge highlighting on the carapace, and then finish up some little details like the eyes, maybe a shade on the tentacles, and then I do add a little gloss, watered down Ard Coat gloss to the skin, kind of give it a Xenos slimy look, kind of like the alien, the Xenomorph, yeah. And yeah, that's all there really is to it. It's a pretty simple paint scheme. Just got enough detail to make it interesting, not be too basic. That's how swarms are painted. Dry these bases some more with the hair dryer. Burn my hand a little bit. It's getting hot down there. Alright. These still aren't quite dry enough to wash yet, so I'll just let those sit. But the leapers themselves, the Nuln oil is dry enough that I can start highlighting it. So I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to use Reaper Miniatures size 0 brush. Got a nice fine tip point. There's some spots of Nuln oil that aren't quite dry, so I'm just going to hair dry this real quick. Alright, now we're in business. And I'm going to highlight with Dawnstone. So in comparison, this will look, kind of bright. But it'll be a nice highlight color, so just get some of that on the palette and a little bit of water. And then this is the part where the carapace really comes to life and starts to pop. So I think I can zoom in a little bit here for this. There we go. So I'm just going to kind of go along the edge. I'm going to feather it a little bit too. That fine tip. Kind of give it that Tyranid look. It's very iconic that you see on carapace. So we had a nice line along the edge and then just kind of feather some thinner lines going up kind of get that natural kind of coloring pattern. Organic. That's the word I was looking for. Organic look. Yeah, and if the camera stays focused, you'll see what I'm doing. And using a nice, you know, thin paint that doesn't cover super opaque. Kind of just blends in, and you get a nice kind of transition in the highlight. Not trying to be super neat with this. Just trying to get, you know, something there to kind of break up the pattern and make it pop at kind of a distance. So try to do just enough highlights on the Tyranids without going overboard. Because highlights can take a while. If you've seen me paint Space Marines. Down these mantis arms, just kind of hitting these edges up real quick. Just something real quick. Using the edge of my brush, kind of get the edges of the mantis arm. On. Focus is all over the place tonight. I'll zoom out just a little bit. Highlights. Who needs them? I'll tell you who needs them. The Von Ryan Sleepers. They need them. Just a little bit, you know, just on the carapace. Just on the carapace. Nothing too crazy. Just gotta break up that dark Nuln Oil wash I did. The more you do it, the faster you get at doing the highlights. And one is already done. Except for down here, I gotta do this here. Then he'll be done. There we go. All right, one leaper is highlighted. You can see the difference. Highlighted on the left and not highlighted on the right. You know, you might even get away with a little, like doing this with a dry brush. A very, very light dry brush, but I still like to do this with a brush, smaller brush, because I get a little bit more control. Let's see if I can crank this one out even faster than the first. Let the benefit of familiarity take its course. It's another reason why batch painting is way more efficient. You get really good at painting the same thing over and over. So you can paint it faster each time. Carapace on the face. On the back here. Let's get these mantis claws. Oops. Brush slipped there. That's okay. Just about out of paint down there anyways. Yeah, if you get the right rhythm down, you can get these carapace edge highlights pretty quickly. And there we go. Let's get some on the talons here. Then on the legs, can't forget about that. Down the center. Sides, there we go, coming along. Get the chest. And then the shins, can't forget about the shins. There we go. 2 down, 1 to go. Just doing some edge highlighting. Yeah, I think that second guy went a lot quicker than the first one. I'm hoping this third one goes even quicker. But it is not a race. Don't want to rush it and get sloppy. Like when I paint terrain, I get very impatient and I start rushing it, and it starts to get a little sloppy sometimes. So I try to catch myself when I'm working through a big batch of infantry. Catch myself rushing. Rushing in a bad way, I should say. Certainly paint quickly if you're got a groove going down. A good rhythm. Okay, that thigh right there was a little sloppy. That was a little sloppy. I accept full responsibility for that sloppiness. I'm also not going to worry about it. It's just a leaper. It's not like we're painting a Primarch. Wow, I just gotta do the mantis arms. Seemed like. Seems like it went quicker. I think so. Oh, I'm almost out of paint on this color. But I only got 1 arm left to do. I don't want to get more paint on the palette. Oh, there we go. A little faint on the tip there, but that's okay. There we go. 3 leapers, edge highlighted. Boom. Then we have the bases here. A little damp, but I think they're dry enough to be washed with some earth shade. We'll do that real quickly. And we'll go back to some finishing details on the leapers. And these suckers will be almost done. For my Tyranid bases, I just do a simple texture paint, the astrogranite debris, or just astrogranite. And then I'll do an Agrax Earthshade over that, and a light dry brush of Rakarth Flesh on top. Nice, simple ground. Works for like Ruined City, Asphalt, or even like a alien kind of moon planet. Something real neutral. I find that gray is a great color to paint bases, or even if you're basing terrain and you need like just a dark gray or dark gray brown. I find that will fit on any battle mat you stick it on. Doing something real neutral like that. You don't have to worry about matching it perfectly with the battle mat. Yeah, gray is a great color. It's great. I'll see myself out. All right. Let's do Caribou Crimson for the tentacles in the mouth. Just darken those up, make them look a little gross. Ooh. I'm also going to use it in the mantis arms. Kind of gives it like a reddish purple hue. You know, maybe it's kind of like bits of prey was caught in there and it's kind of digesting, or I don't know, the flesh bits on the Tyranid, they're a little bit different than the rest, so just to make it look a little distinctive compared to the rest. I don't know. Kind of making it up as I go along. The tentacles in the mouth. Yes, Alex, I'll take phrases I've never wanted to hear for 400, please. What is a Von Ryan's Leaper? That's good. Oh, we got some more upbeat music. The ambient stuff has faded. All right. All right, we got some stuff on the base. Looks like a piece of metal. Got a little Tyranid fungal spore chimney thing. One of these guys was, there he is. He's standing on a piece of concrete debris. Maybe I will paint that in Rakarth Flesh. It's kind of faded into the base while we wait for the shade to dry. That's the problem, waiting for shades to dry in that texture paint. I always try to get that applied as early as possible, so it has a good you know, a minute to dry. Alright, so I'm just going to paint this. Looks like a rock or like a piece of a building or something. Just going to paint that with Rakarth Flesh. Also got some like Tyranid growth on it. So I should probably go back and do that too. I think I'll do that with Gene Sealer Purple. I painted something. Oh, it was the Dreadnought base. I used Gene Sealer Purple for the little Tyranid creepy vines that grow on things, and I thought that looked really cool. So we're gonna do that again. I think I did Gene Sealer Purple and then I did Caribou Crimson over it. Or maybe I just left it as Gene Sealer Purple. Well, whatever I did, it was on last week's stream, so. Let's see here. We got this little guy. Paint that Rakarth Flesh as well. And go back and touch up some of those alien bulbous things. For this piece of metal on here, I'm just gonna do Mechanicus Standard on there. No sense breaking out a metallic paint for that. It's just a very minor detail. I'll kind of messily paint it too, so some of the black shows, just to kind of give it a one-pass black shade without actually having to shade it with Nuln Oil. A little bit of a shortcut. And then we got a little Tyranid fungal thing growing on there. So we'll give it the carapace color. Just, you know, real muted details here. That's not what this model's about. It's about the leaper, not what he's standing on. Just gonna paint that real quick, and then we'll do the creep on there with Gene Sealer Purple. Yeah, it's gnarly looking. There's some rebar on the backside here. I'll just get that with Mechanicus Gray as well. I'll let that dry a spell. And then we have these little pods down here by the foot. So I'll just do those in Gene Sealer Purple as well. I know it's probably not the same color I painted my other 3 leapers down here, but it's fine. Just a little subtle variety. Adds a little bit of randomness. Yet the whole army will still look cohesive. And then as that dries, I will grab the Earthshade. And I'm just going to go over that whole brick with Agrax Earthshade. Just to blend this all down into neutral tones and into the background. I'll also do the same with this little base detail. Just going to give it some earth shade, darken it up, send it back to the background. All right. Our base is almost dry, so it's almost ready for that dry brush. So I'm just going to ease this along with the hair dryer. One down, two to go. Alright, those bases are dry, so now I can do my Rack Earth Flesh dry brush over that. Grab my Citadel dry brush. Just going to do this real lightly here. It's pretty subtle. Go back here, get a little bit more. There we go. But yeah, texture paint, wash, and a dry brush goes a long way. Makes your bases look great. That's usually my my combo move there. All right, let's do the eyes real quick. What did I give the eyes on these guys? Yellow. Okay, good. That was a good choice. Yellow eyes once again. Everland Sunset is a great one for yellow. It's a nice warm yellow. It covers nicely with just one coat, especially for little details like this. It's very warm in tone, so it'll complement nicely to my Tyranid color palette. So, I'm gonna get a little bit of water in my brush, get a nice tip formed on this brush here. He's got like 3 little eyes. So I can get all 3 eyes and make them yellow. So he's got 6 eyes total. Disgusting. It's kind of like a spider, but spiders have more eyes, I think. Actually, I don't know how many eyes a spider has. I like those bases. Simple and effective. Thank you. Yeah. I think they, I think bases are often underlooked or overdone. Sometimes they're often left bare. Or people will post their completed miniature and they say, I finished painting my whatever, and they're sitting on a base that's got like primer and paint slashed all over it. And it's like, your miniature looks great, but the base is not done. You know, I'm kind of a stickler in that sense, but it ain't done until the base is done. Just gotta fit him on here, let him dry, so I can stop handling these. I think this guy was on this base. Yeah. There we go. I'm going to grab some extra thin cement. Just lock these in here for good. This stuff is great for assembling. I ran out, and buying one more online was way too expensive, but I could buy 3 for reasonably priced. So I bought the 3-pack, and now I have probably enough cement that I'll ever need for a very, very, very long time. All right. Before I do the base rim, I'm gonna do the gloss coat on the skin. So for that, I just use technical art coat, and I like to mix that up on one of these plastic paint palettes. Let's give it a little bit of water. That might actually be too much water. Let's grab a junky brush like this guy here. He's seen some better days. Dab up some of this water. Paper towel. And I mix the technical art coat. Get a couple brush loads full of that. And I mix it up with the water so it's kind of nice, thin, and runny. And then for my Tyranid skin, I just apply that everywhere in here. And it gives us that, to me, products are amazing. I use their panel liners in lieu of washes. You know, I've considered getting their panel liner, because I think they're, I guess they kind of target like people who build model tanks and like Gundam and stuff. There's a lot of panels. Yeah, I've thought about just trying that instead of the wash. The other thing is, aren't those enamel based? Or are those acrylic? I think they might be enamel, which isn't a problem. It's just you have to be kind of careful with that. It's a little bit more permanent, takes longer to dry, etc., etc. And we just go over all the fleshy bits on the Tyranid. And it gets that like xenomorph glossy slime. Makes them look real terrifying. I don't know, I kind of go back and forth if I like the glossy skin or not. That's why I've been watering it down more and more. Because when it's watered down, it's a little less intense. When I first started painting these guys, I did it right from the pot, and that was a very thick coat. They're oil-based, I believe. Yeah. I've used, oh, where is it? Like these oil brusher pens. Get a little bit of that and thin it down with some thinner. And that works good for like plasma guns. You paint the gun kind of blue and you get your blue gradient going, and then you drip that in there, and then the white, it covers really well, and it'll just like flow in all the cracks of the plasma gun. And that can look pretty good if you do it right. Like if you thin it out too much, then you run the risk of it running everywhere because it's very like flowy and very opaque. So that is a trick I learned from a channel called Juan Hidalgo Miniatures. I think it's Hidalgo Miniatures. Anyway, he does a lot of those really great painting tutorials where he shows you little tricks like that. So I learned that one there. I've tried it a couple times. I've had varying results. Just, you know, my lack of having the method perfected. But when done right, it does look very nice. So that's kind of a go-to for plasma. Although I've been trying to do plasma with just acrylic paint, if possible. Just because I'm more comfortable with that and it's easier to fix a mistake. And it dries faster. These Tyranids all slimed up. Tail here. I think these bad boys are just about done. I just got to rim the base and yeah, there's nothing really else left to do and they are done. Make sure I got the back of the head. Okay. Just doing a once over. Up. I missed an arm over here. Gotta go back and double check all these guys before I wash up this mixture here, because I always missed one little thing here or there. Yeah, I missed the inside side of the arm here. And this arm too. There we go. Mouth is nice and wet looking. That's great. Alright. He does a lot of great stuff. Oh, good. You watch Hidalgo as well. Yeah. He's got some good tips. I'm sure most of us who have perused the YouTubes probably come across and watch a lot of the same channels. Well, there's a good variety and selection of hobby YouTubers out there. Not the most saturated of topics as far as YouTube content goes. It's still kind of niche. And field gray once again for my bases on the rim. Yeah, you can see all this art coat is still drying, but you can see the difference between my old version on the left and the new version on the right. So the old version is using like a what color is it? It's Temple Guard blue. No, it's not. Is it? No, it's using Sotek green. It's using Sotek green with like a gray wash over it. And on the right, I'm doing just Thunderhawk blue with a black wash. And they kind of read as the same color, but I'll have a little bit more control over this one, so I like the way it looks. So that's what I've been doing all my new Tyranids in. And I've been liking the way that they've been looking. Liking the way they've been turning out. Another one I really like is Next Level Painting. Ah, I don't think I've heard of that one. I will definitely check that one out. Next Level Painting. Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of YouTube as much as I used to, but every now and then I'll still try to see what all the channels I used to watch are up to, and you know, try to stay a little plugged in. Yeah, but I've just been so occupied with projects and editing videos and playing games. Don't have much time for watching YouTube as I used to. He has a process. California guy. Through and through. Yeah, those Californians, they're a whole nother breed. Alright, just got one more coat to do on the base, and these guys they're done. There's nothing else to do after that. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to paint next week. I have some stuff I need to paint for my Adepticon list at the end of March. I know that date will approach really fast, and I have a whole Necron monolith I need to paint and a squad of death marks. So I'm probably going to start the monolith, start painting it off stream, but I may paint that next week Monday as well. We'll see. Or maybe I'll pull in back to my Space Marines and work on those the veterans. But yeah, so you may see some more Xenos on the Monday live streams in the next couple weeks as I try to catch up on Adepticon painting. So I'm all prepared for that. But yeah. It's been great. I'm really happy I was able to paint from start to finish a whole unit of Leapers, so that I can use these guys in my game tomorrow, and hopefully I'll win. We'll find out. I'll let you know how that goes next week. But I think I'm gonna leave at that. If I finish painting the second coat on this rim. And yeah, I'll leave you with that. And we have a new video coming out this Thursday or Friday. I can't remember when I set it to go live. So stay tuned for that. Am I playing Ben tomorrow? No, I am not playing Ben tomorrow. I am playing... it's probably going to be random. So last week, all of us got together at the hobby shop, and we all put a dice in one of the bolt action dice bags, and we drew randomly. So I don't know who I'm playing tomorrow. I might be playing Andrew because he is partaking in this league. I hope I don't play Andrew because he builds really mean lists. But yeah. So yeah, there we go. I got my Leapers all done, ready for tomorrow. So I'm super excited about that. So yeah, I'll let you know how my game goes next week. And thank you all for watching. And new video coming out on Friday. And I'll be back live streaming on Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, I think that's everything. Have a lovely evening. And I'll catch you all next week. Yes, good luck to the Leapers. Thanks for hanging out with us.